Seriously Sinister discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or it could be easy listening to all of you psychopaths out there.
Names and places have been changed to protect the hosts legally.
Listener discretion is not advised. Seriously Sinister.
Welcome to Seriously Sinister, saying goodbye to March Madness and hello to April Anxiety. This is Trevin.
And I'm Amanda. Do you find yourself having a lot of anxiety in the month of April?
No, I don't. I was just thinking of a cool alliteration.
Well, I like it. I was just curious. I was like, you know what? I mean, I could see it. Spring is kind of unpredictable.
I used to get bad seasonal depression in the summer as a kid.
Oh, in the summer.
Yeah, it usually just meant you had to go outside and do more shit you didn't want to do, so it just really wasn't for me. I always loved the winter, but now it's kind of changing. I think I'm becoming a normal person now that I'm just spreading my wings and knowing how normal people should be.
Welcome to the world, Trevin.
You know, I'm a late bloomer, but I'm enjoying it.
So do you have a dreadful dilemma for us this week?
Yes. I do. So I know we've talked about this a little bit. You always say, oh, Trevin's upset because the Chiefs did something stupid. So if people haven't realized, I am a football fan.
Mm-hmm.
And as you guys have gotten to know me over the last 52 episodes, I don't seem like a guy who would be a football fan.
Right.
I haven't really heard it as much now, but when I was back in the dating game, I would talk to people. They would say, oh, what are you doing Sunday? I'm like, watching the game. And they'd say, what? You're not that type of guy. And I agree, I'm not. I really do not like to lump myself together with football fans because I think it's a certain type of person. Not a lot of people are into it in the same way that I am. Like when I say, oh, I like the Saw movies, and somebody else will say, I like the Saw movies. And I say, yeah, they have great storyline. And then somebody else will just say, I just like the blood and torture. And it's like, you and I are not the same.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the football fans are very interesting people, at least the main bulk of them. I'm not lumping everybody together. But I am a Chiefs fan. I'm from Kansas City. And so I don't know if you've seen this online, but a lot of people hate Patrick Mahomes' wife and his brother.
Yeah.
And I find it so annoying because nobody can talk about anything without bringing it up. And I'm just going to brush over the brother very quickly. Yes, he's a young kid. Yes, he's kind of annoying on TikTok. But you're looking at 55-year-old men who have nothing else going on in their life, and they're just like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is doing this. Jackson's stupid, blah, blah, blah. They act like you cannot avoid seeing him. And I never see him anywhere.
Right.
How is a 55-year-old man seeing him and being annoyed by him constantly if they're not looking to be annoyed by him constantly? As I've talked about, I've recently started using TikTok. I haven't seen Jackson Mahomes once. I haven't done anything got on my way to see him. So if you're annoyed by him, stop looking for reasons to be annoyed by him.
They must be reading news articles or something, right?
Right. And it's just so annoying. But I want to talk about Brittany because I think Brittany is a fine lady.
Yeah.
She is an entrepreneur type person. She has her own little workout videos. She does a lot of gym stuff. She was actually a star soccer player in college.
Yeah.
She's not just somebody who's sitting there and, just taking in the checks and taking advantage.
She owns the women's soccer team in Kansas City, right?
Yeah, she seems really cool.
Yeah.
And so all these people want to hate on her and it kind of drives me crazy. But recently, when the Chiefs won that overtime game and they were like, oh, she thinks she's better than us because she popped corks and rained champagne down on all the peasants and whatnot. And they're like, oh, does she not realize that there's real people down here? And it's like, okay, if I'm going to go to a concert and let's say it's raining and people are like, yeah, we're just going to throw mud and get wild. It's like, okay, you signed up for the concert. You went to it. That's what happens. You went to a playoff game and you won an exceptional, crazy game. One for the ages.
Right.
And she wants to get excited and pop a cork and go, woo! I think that anybody who got sprayed, because I'm sure whoever's complaining is not one of those people.
Yeah.
If you got sprayed by her champagne, you were probably so excited that you saw history unfold in front of you that you were just like, I don't give a shit. I'm sticky and I'm excited. And I don't know who these people are that's mad about that, but you weren't there, you know?
Yeah.
Now, if it was the other way around, we got beat really bad, and the whole crowd is just like, oh, bummed, we suck. And she was like, better pour one out for my homies. And she just like dumps champagne on everybody underneath her. I would say yes, there's probably a problem with that.
Yeah.
But for celebrating a very exciting victory, I don't think that makes her, and I don't think she was purposely spraying it over the crowd. She was just spraying it where she was.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it sucks for the cleaning person, but come on. I just think that a lot of people are really picking these two out. And honestly, you guys want to act like Mahomes is the second coming for Kansas City, but then you want to talk shit on his family all the time.
The people that he loves the most.
Yeah. If it was me, I'd be like, maybe I'll lift that trade clause and go somewhere else because this town sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sure if somebody in California would be like, hey, you guys are celebrities. Welcome. We like all of you. We're happy to have you. I'm not sure what the fan base is all about, but it just drives me crazy. And you can't treat people poorly and expect them to want to do good for you. I mean, that goes the same way with relationships and anything else.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Well, I mean, speaking from somebody who, like, I am a pretty big Royals fan, and I got sprayed with champagne by Salvador Perez, actually, at this thing with my cousin. And I actually thought it was amazing. And it was indoors in a bar. But, you know, I can see how, like, I guess Patrick's brother's been kind of like a diva, like, don't you know who I am? Like at restaurants kind of thing. But it's like, you don't need to search this guy out and let it bother you. Like, if you're a Patrick Mahomes fan or like a Chiefs fan, like, just let it go.
Yeah, he's not even a D-list celebrity. Why are you going out of your way to have him ruin your day?
Yeah, that's so weird to me. And they just got married, Brittany and him, and it looks like their wedding was like really pretty, and it was in Hawaii. So, like, congrats, guys. We're not going to hate.
Yeah, congrats. That's cool. And they had the custom Coors bottles with their faces on them.
I saw that. They had so many cool custom things that I was like, oh my God. I'm sure so many different vendors were like, let us do this for you.
Yeah, and they probably did it all for free.
Yeah.
It was probably the cheapest wedding of all time, even though it was probably the most expensive.
Oh my God. I don't know. I'm curious just how much money they spent on the flower arrangements because, wow, there were flowers everywhere. I've never seen that many flowers. Well, that is dreadful. I'm on your side with this, Trevin. I think people need to just let it go.
Yeah,
you know?
Lighten up. And if you can't love him at his Jackson Mahomes, you can't have him at your Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, get a grip. Well, I also have a dreadful dilemma that has to do with haters.
Ooh, they gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate. And oh my God, my dreadful dilemma every week should just be how, like, my voice isn't coming back to normal, but I will stop talking to you guys about that. So, you and I have already kind of talked about this, Trevin, but I felt the need to bring it up on our show. We need to talk about the movie Turning Red.
Oh, yes.
Or as my daughter calls it, Red Panda.
Good name.
So, for anyone out there who doesn't know, I'll just give you a brief rundown here. This movie came out on Disney Plus recently. And I mean, they kind of went all out, just like when Luca first came out, just like when Onward came out at the start of the pandemic, they were promoting the crap out of it. And it's really eye-catching because everything's red. And Lila was like super excited for this movie to come out. The trailers had Justin Timberlake singing in it and everything. And
that'll work.
Yeah, that'll get the kids going. So anyway, we watched the movie and I thought it was great. I mean, it was just like any other Pixar Disney movie that we've watched as far as, oh, like, this is unique. This is a new type of storytelling. And like, I thought that the characters were good and there was like some good songs. And I thought it was really cool because a lot of these kids' stories, it seems like either take place in modern day or like way back in the day if it's like a fairy tale type of thing. But this one was in the 90s, which is like when, we grew up. So I loved it because the main character was of Asian descent. She's a 13-year-old just trying to figure out life, and boy bands were all the rage. And I mean, I just thought it was like unique and fun and whatever. My daughter loved it. We loved it. We went to bed without a worry in our mind. Then the next day, Lila wanted to FaceTime you and Emily. And she told you guys about this new movie she had seen. And you guys were like, oh, yeah, I saw some controversy about that online. And I was like, wait, about what? And then I looked and I saw the most horrific reviews. 1 star after 1 star after 1 star of these Karens just destroying this movie, saying that it was so inappropriate because they talked about the girl possibly starting her period, and saying that she was aroused from having a crush on a boy and like drawing a picture of him in her notebook, and saying because she said she liked to gyrate her hips. There was just so many. The list goes on and on. Look up the reviews. I'll even post some on our Instagram because there's one that was particularly just over the top that I was like, oh my God. But it got us talking. It got Jordan and I talking. It got my parents and I talking. And the more I think about it, the more it just annoys the living hell out of me.
I get that.
Because they're upset because she snuck out, right? Okay.
Mischief.
It's like the Little Mermaid left the damn ocean at the same age. The whole entire ocean gave up her own talents and got married.
She literally gave up her voice.
Yeah. And like Tangled, I mean, of course she was like a hostage in a tower, but she ran away. Like every kid runs away in these movies. People have, like, can you name 5 movies where the kid doesn't run away? Like, that's kind of one of the main things that happens.
Yeah, Disney is very pro running away.
Yes. And I don't know. I just thought that parents took it really over the top. I think it's important to have open and honest conversations with our kids about bodily functions that are gonna happen. And honestly, like Lila being an almost 4-year-old, she didn't even care about that part. She liked that it was about a fuzzy panda girl. And she's like, Mommy, one day I want to turn into a panda. She liked the song. She liked the boy band songs and everything. I don't know.
It's way over their head.
Yeah. And if your kid is old enough to understand all the little nuances and like things going on, then they're old enough to talk about puberty, people.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up with that is the same thing I said to you, was in some of those reviews, people are like, where are the good movies? Or where are the movies with the right messages like Toy Story and this? And I'm like, okay, in Toy Story, it shows the toys as basically living beings.
Yeah.
And at one point, we go to Sid's house where he takes a bunch of sad and scared toys who have been cannibalized and are just getting blown to bits and killed, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, the way the kids see the movie is like, these are actual people.
Yes.
These toys are people. And Sid is making them dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you're saying that you should be showing your kids that and not something that talks about puberty because the Toy Story is so pure of heart. I have nothing against Toy Story. I love that movie. I grew up on it. But it's just like, if you want to dissect every single thing about this, then you need to go back and dissect everything about that, because there is something bad in almost every kid movie, because that's what PG movies have. It's always like PG for comic mischief. Mischief is a thing.
Yeah.
That's what pushes a story forward.
Yeah. I don't know. I think everyone who's so against this movie maybe just needs to do some inner looking and be like, why do you feel so uncomfortable talking to your kids about these things?
Who hurt you?
None of this is abnormal. Like, it's gonna be fine.
Yes.
But anyway, we are going to play a round of trivia today.
It's trivia time.
I want to play a game.
Whoa, Trevin. We do not have the rights to say that.
Let's have a fun time.
And I'll be going first. My question for you deals with a fun little creature of the sea.
Oh, nice.
Have you ever heard of a pistol shrimp?
Maybe.
Well, I'm going to ask you about one.
Okay.
So this is multiple choice with 3 choices.
Okay.
How did pistol shrimps get their name? Is it A, they can swim faster than a bullet? B, they are shaped like a gun? Or C, they can shoot bubbles from their hands that can kill enemies?
Oh my God. I hope it's C, but I'm going to guess B.
And you are incorrect.
Damn. Which one is it?
They can shoot bubbles from their hands
Yes.
that can kill enemies.
I was hoping. It just sounds so far-fetched.
So pistol shrimp, also known as snapping shrimp, earn their sea cred by creating something that's seemingly childlike. It makes bubbles. But these definitely aren't your ordinary bubbles. They can make a sound louder than a gun and generate massive amounts of heat.
Excuse me?
Pistol shrimp shoot these deadly bubbles to kill prey, jackhammer into rock to create burrows, or protect their burrows from other shrimp. The gun is built right into their oversized snappers that can grow to be half the size of their body. Wow. This monstrous sound isn't actually caused by the parts of the claw impacting each other. As the shrimp open their large snapper claw, water fills the small crook, and then they basically just smash it with enough force that it's like super hard, super loud.
So can it hurt a human being?
That was some different things I was reading. I don't think it can.
Okay.
The bubble not only kills what's in its path, but creates a very loud sound. And they even say that it's louder than a gun and hotter than lava. But they said it reaches about 218 decibels, which is louder than a speeding bullet. But to humans, that sound isn't actually that loud due to the blast lasting only a tiny fragment of a second.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know about the heat. I would think that the heat would still leave some sort of a mark on you, but
you would think.
From everything I read, it sounded like they don't hurt people. I don't know why.
Huh.
If you touched me with hot lava for even a millisecond, I would think I would at least tear up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and if they're like jackhammering into rock, as you say, to like make their houses.
Yeah, just by like popping water in their hand, basically.
Weird. Damn, that sounds kind of terrifying, but also like really adorable.
Yeah, you go, shrimp. Protect yourself.
I want to watch a video of that now. Wow. Well, I'm glad that was the answer. I really wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. I just was like, really? I don't know. Okay, so my trivia today has 4 options just because I thought one of the options was going to be too easy for you.
Okay.
Which of the following famous people did not die while sitting on a toilet? Is it A, Judy Garland? And just in case anyone doesn't remember, that's, Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. B, Elvis Presley, which, come on, we all know who that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
C, Natalie Wood, who was a very famous actress. And D, George II of Great Britain.
Oh, so it's between Natalie Wood and Judy Garland. I'm going to go Judy Garland.
And you're incorrect. Damn. I did not know this until today, my friend, because I wanted to do something kind of like an odd question like this. And when I saw that Judy Garland was on there, I was like, what? Poor Judy Garland, though. I mean, like, after The Wizard of Oz, her life just really went downhill.
I watched her movie, and it was just kind of a sad alcoholic story.
Oh, like there's a documentary about her life or something?
I think it was on Amazon. It was a movie by Renee Zellweger played as her.
Oh, I see. Like,
I think it was just called Judy.
Oh my God. I kind of want to watch that now, even though it sounds really sad. So I wanted to give a brief backstory to all of these toilet deaths. We'll start with George II of Great Britain. He had a heart attack sitting on the royal toilet. I mean, I guess at least it was royal. I don't know.
There's a silver lining to every toilet death, I guess.
Yeah. So Judy Garland, she was addicted to barbiturates, drugs, things like this. She also had like a lot of suicide attempts and just a lot of bad stuff happened to her. Like, I really feel for her. But yeah, apparently her 5th husband found her on the toilet in 1969 at only the age of 47.
Oh, yeah, she was pretty young.
Isn't
she didn't
that
look like
crazy?
it, though. She really ran herself down.
Yeah. She had like a really hard life at the end. And then I knew you would know Elvis, right? I
Right.
feel like everyone kind of knows that one, but he was in the bathroom in his Graceland mansion on August 16th, 1977, when the years of drugs caught up with him. He fell off the toilet next to a pool of his own vomit. So that sucks. Now, the reason I threw Natalie Wood in there, and this is her.
Oh, she's the one that died on the boat.
Yes.
Damn it. I should have known that.
Yes, she had the whole weird, mysterious death, on the boat where people really, I'm trying to remember, I don't think they really even know now, do they?
They don't. Wasn't Christopher Walken part of that? Or am I thinking of a different actress?
Let me see. Yeah. So she was married to Robert Wagner, and they were on the boat, and there's just a bunch of mysterious things where basically they said neither one saw her fall into the water, and that they got into an argument that night. So a lot of people are like, did he drown her? Did she just fall off? But in the end, examiners ultimately changed her cause of death from an accidental drowning to drowning and other undetermined factors. So it's still kind of a mystery to this day.
Yeah. How convenient.
So anyway, that was a little bit of a wild ride.
Yeah. I should have known that too. I knew that. Yeah.
It's
oh, well.
okay. I mean, but I didn't know that Judy Garland passed away on a toilet.
I didn't either. It wasn't in her movie, I'll tell you that.
Oh, okay. Well, then, good lord. But anyway, so we're on to stories.
Story time. And I am going first.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
So today's story is one from the news, and it's an international story. And I think that's about all I'm going to say for now, and we'll just get into this and see where we land together.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. And here we go. Over the last year, we at Seriously Sinister have brought you a lot of stories that have involved food. From one of our first episodes, where Amanda shared facts about food being stolen, it really set the tone for what to expect in future stories. Little did I know, through all of this, just how much food would be brought up. It seems that even if food isn't being stolen, it can be a major motivator in what leads to rules being broken. From an old can of beans causing a woman's embarrassing flatulence in a Dollar General line, to the dreaded attack on Palm Coast Pizza after one customer received unwanted Parmesan on her garlic knots. Food is the unspoken cause of so many petty disasters. Being a bit of a foodie myself, I'm here for it. Not only do I love a wide array of delicious treats, I also grew up listening to Weird Al Yankovic. Al will seize any and all opportunities to put a food reference in his songs, even making entire songs about food. For examples, see his popular parody of the Knack's song My Sharona, entitled My Bologna. The more I write these stories, the more I recognize his influence in my works. But enough about my backstory. Yes, food has played many roles in our stories. They've motivated us with hunger, been the items that people have stolen, are sometimes a Trojan horse treat full of laxatives, and even once, a mural for one man's anti-Semitic icing art.
Not the strudel.
But the story that I am telling today will provide a new way in which food has entered the petty crime ring. Sometimes, food is a weapon. Zeke was a friendly bus driver living in Skane, Sweden. He loved his job. Each day, he got to pull up, open his door, and then safely transport them to a new and happier place. As Zeke was such a nice guy, it gave him a chance to wish everyone a friendly hello, and an eventual good day.
Have a great day.
He just loved it. The rush he would feel from knowing that if someone did in fact have a good day, he would be able to say that maybe his well wishes inspired that to happen. What other job could give you this much power in shaping people's days? He felt so much joy and pride from this that he was saving a small percentage of his wages just to buy a billboard that said, "Zeke wants you to have a good day." Imagine how many non-bus riders he could reach with this positive message.
Wow. Thanks, Zeke.
On this day, things didn't seem out of the ordinary. Zeke woke up early to iron his work tie, pack his lunch, and even grab a coffee for the road. He pulled up to his first stop and greeted all of the tired passengers. "Good morning!" Zeke watched as all of his incoming passengers wiped their sleepy eyes and yawned. This was about how it always went. Not a lot of interaction from the 5 a.m. crowd, but he always made sure not to add any extra stress to their sluggish mornings. The day went on. Droves of passengers exited the bus while flocks of others got on, each one receiving a special farewell from Zeke. "Goodbye. Bon voyage. I love you." It was the perfect day. The perfect life. Rounding out the 5 p.m. work rush, Zeke made what would be his second to last stop. As he put on his flashers, he noticed the car ahead of him pull over right in front of his stop. This was odd to Zeke, but he spent over 40 hours a week on the road. Odd behavior is just a typical day for him. As he began to greet his single-file line of riders, he couldn't help but feel distracted by what was going on in front of him. He watched as a woman exited the passenger side of the car, slammed the door, and began walking angrily in his direction. Her face was as red as a baboon's ass. Although Zeke felt that this woman may be bad news, he never let anyone's physical appearance cause him to deny them access. After all, what if she had just missed the bus and was mad about it? As she got closer, he couldn't help but notice she was carrying a half-eaten banana. This even further backed up his claim that maybe she was running late. "Hello, darling," Zeke said to the woman charging up the bus stairs. "Don't you hello darling me, you asshole! Do you know what you almost did?" The woman screamed into Zeke's face. At a loss for words, Zeke struggled to come up with a response. He stuttered to himself, but failed to reply. "You almost hit me and my daughter. She just got her permit and I'm teaching her how to drive," the woman screamed. "I ought to turn you in and have your license revoked for how reckless you handle yourself on the road." In shock and disbelief, Zeke still could not say a word. The woman continued to get angrier and angrier as her hand gestures began to get more and more exaggerated. Her mood continued to escalate until the woman raised her half-eaten banana above her head and swung it directly into Zeke's eye. There was an explosion of banana. Zeke flew back into his driver's seat while the front row passengers were covered in the mushy fruit. Looking down at all of the wreckage she caused, the woman snapped out of her trance of rage. Her eyes slowly panned across the banana-covered windshield to Zeke wiping his banana-covered face until she saw all of the passengers looking at her. "Oh my God. What have I done?" the woman said, looking at her shaking hand, holding an empty peel. She dropped the banana peel and ran back to her daughter in the car. Drive! The two drove off, obeying all traffic laws. In November of 2011, in Skane, Sweden, bus driver Zakirja Veljic was attacked by a half-eaten banana. The perpetrator, a 46-year-old unnamed woman, claimed that Zeke came close to hitting her and her daughter while she was teaching her how to drive. Later that day, Zeke had experienced eye pain and went to see a doctor. At the eye doctor's, Zeke was diagnosed with vitreous detachment, an eye disorder where the fibers in your eye can separate from the retina. According to the woman, she had been experiencing dizziness and muscle weakness for over half of the year, causing her to drop items. Expressing her anger with different hand gestures, her muscle weakness had kicked in, causing the banana to fly out of her hand and hit the bus driver. In an interview with the local newspaper, Aftenbladet, Zeke said, "She hit me right in the face with the half-eaten banana. I had banana all over me, on my tie, my shirt, and my eye. It felt offensive when 30 passengers saw the whole thing." He later went on to explain that he was initially considering a leave from his bus driving profession. The case ended up being taken to the Lund District Court, where the judge sided with Zeke after a front row passenger came forward and supported his version of the events. The woman was considered guilty and fined an undisclosed amount of money. In another interview with the Aftenbladet paper, the woman stated she felt unprotected legally and that it's unreasonable for a banana to cause that much damage, especially compared to the amount of damage Zeke could have caused with poor driving etiquette. The woman planned to appeal the court's decision, although I could not find any articles on whether that happened or if it was successful. So thus concludes another tale of how food has made an appearance into one of our crime stories. And you don't have to be Chuck Norris or MacGyver to use an object in ways that it was not intended. Whether you're brandishing a banana or just wielding a bad attitude, anything can be considered a deadly weapon in the wrong hands.
So she really just stuck to her guns afterwards even.
Yeah, she said that she just was dropping items, so she was waving the item and somehow accidentally let go and threw it into him instead of the forceful banana stab or whatever that it actually was. And then even goes as far as saying, I want to appeal it after she lost it in court.
Good Lord, lady, let it go.
Yeah, just own up with your banana attack.
You can't just go around whacking people with bananas.
No.
I mean, it sounds fun, kind of, but it's not really cool. Oh my God. So that damage that you talked about with the fibers, that's what the bus driver had happened after the banana?
The banana hit him in the eye, and apparently it's not, that's the name of it, but it can heal on its own.
Okay.
It's nothing too crazy.
It sounds horrific.
Yeah, I think all it really is some soreness on the inside of your eye, and the only thing you can do to heal it is just wait. Really. Yeah,
and not get hit with another banana in the meantime and let it heal.
Yeah, you gotta wear banana protection.
Wear an eye patch or something. Oh my God. I mean, I get it. I get it. If a bus almost hit me and my daughter, I'd be upset. Mm-hmm. But keep your bananas to yourselves, people.
Yes. That's a good thing that we should all take from this episode.
Yeah, and also, if he didn't hit you, you can be pissed, maybe curse in your car and be like, this, idiot almost hit us, blah, blah, blah. Go on about your day. Eat the rest of the banana. Mm-hmm. Get your potassium. And keep that energy high and positive, right?
Yeah, if it was me, I would eat the banana, throw the peel in front of the bus, and then just pretend to yourself that you wrecked him with the banana. You'll have a little bit of that justice boner, and then you'll go on.
Yeah, or if you want to be a little more spicy, she could have even just thrown the peel, on the windshield. But she didn't have to bitch slap the guy with the banana.
Yeah, and now you probably were hungry after that.
Yeah, right, that's what I'm saying.
Which could have led to more crimes.
She didn't have a backup banana, I guarantee.
No, whoever has a backup banana.
Well, that story was really something. And honestly, I would feel really degraded. My husband says this all the time. He's like, if I got into a fight, one of the most degrading things you could do is open hand, slap someone instead of an aggressive punch or tackle or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's just giving someone a big old slap right in the face is the most degrading thing ever. But I feel like the banana takes the cake for me. If someone hit me in the face with a banana, I would feel so degraded in front of all my bus people.
I've always thought that the most degrading thing you could do, which you would have to come prepared all the time, but to be slapped across the face with a fish. I've always just liked the thought of having a fish body hit a person and just watching the whole body flap around their face.
Did you watch the Amanda show growing up?
Yes.
Yeah, she had like that scene where she would hit someone with a fish or that skit or whatever.
Yeah, that's probably my 90s childhood really rearing its head.
That's immediately what I thought of. I used to think that too, like, man, if you just always have a floppy fish on hand, you know?
And I think Chris Farley in Beverly Hills Ninja did a thing where he was undercover behind a hibachi grill, and he had these big old fish that were probably like 3 feet long, and he was swinging them like nunchucks. And I think he hit a guy with one.
Oh my God. That sounds like that would be something he would do. Oh my gosh. Well, that was really a ride. So thank you for sharing that with me.
Hey, thank you for listening.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. Oh my God. So, Trevin, this is a listener story that I'll be sharing with you this week.
Ooh-wee.
So, she did wish to remain anonymous for this tale. So, I will be calling this listener Raven from here on out.
Ooh, did she pick that name?
No.
Oh.
I just thought that it was really fitting. I don't know. It felt right in my soul.
I'll take it.
Before I begin this story, however, I did have a special request from Raven. When she wrote us for the very first time, she contacted us through our Facebook page, and this is one of the things that she actually said to us. She said, "Hey there, guys. So first of all, Amanda, whenever I hear your voice, it reminds me so much of Meg from Hercules, and I would just die for an impression." So Raven, I know I still sound nasally a little bit. I swear to God, this pregnancy, I just constantly have a runny nose or something. But your wish is my command, and I'm going to try and do my best for you, okay? Well, thanks for everything, Herc. It's been a real slice.
Okay, I kind of remember that.
Okay. I hope that was okay. I hope that did it justice. That's me with my little raspy, runny nose. But you know what? I love Meg from Hercules. I am honored that I sound like her to someone in this world. So yeah, there you go. Time to get on with Raven's story. And here we go. Most of the time on our show, we cover criminals that are in the height of their illegal activity and breaking points. Punching Sesame Street characters in the face or dipping balls into a stranger's salsa are just a couple of examples of this. Rarely do we ever take a deep look back into these petty criminals' past to examine them. Would we possibly find out that most petty criminals who explode over food were forced to eat their vegetables every single night by their parents?
I hate peas.
Or that the petty thieves we cover had their hard-earned lemonade stand money taken by the neighborhood bully every summer?
Thanks for the beer money, nerd.
We will just never know. But for this story, I will take you through uncharted territory. This story is about one young girl's very first petty crime. In the year of 2009, Raven was a 12-year-old kid trying to figure out her place in the world. Overall, she was a great kid with straight A's in school and a constant fear of getting into trouble. However, she did have a deep desire to become rebellious. After all, she did live in Defiance County in Ohio and wanted to live up to her surroundings.
I rebel!
Raven's rebellious side came out in her personal style and taste in music. She wore skinny jeans that made her jump up and down repeatedly while pulling with all her might just to get them on. Sure, the jeans gave her a permanent wedgie and prevented her from fully extending her legs. But who needed to do that anyway? To really put her emo look over the top, she would smudge on a thick outline of eyeliner to give her eyes a judgmental and sleepy appearance. Raven grabbed her iPod and cranked up her favorite Hawthorne Heights song as she put on her headphones. It was time to walk to one of her favorite places on earth, her local library.
I am so sad, you are so sad, we should be together.
As Raven entered the library, she quickly turned off her iPod to match the eerily quiet building and inhaled deeply. The smell of musty old books and the grumpy librarian Mrs. Green's perfume filled her lungs, causing her to cough. Mrs. Green sharply turned her old neck and lectured Raven with a classic shh. Regardless of the smells and Mrs. Green's cold soul, the library was like a second home for Raven. She smiled as she walked the familiar aisles and ran her fingertips across the organized books. Although Raven loved to wander around the library, today she had a specific book that she needed. Waiting at home for her was her prized rock collection, just waiting for her to identify each and every precious stone. Before she could do that, however, she needed to find the perfect book to help her determine the names and origins of her rocks. That is when Raven spotted it. There, in the middle of an old bookshelf, read the book title, Peterson Field Guides, Rocks and Minerals. She jumped as high as her skinny jeans would allow, and a muffled squeal of glee emerged from Raven's mouth. This was immediately followed by her hiding behind the shelf from Mrs. Green's authoritative gaze. When she felt like the coast was clear, she casually began walking towards Mrs. Green's desk to check out. That is when she reached into her skinny jeans back pocket and realized that she had lost her library card for the third time. She could already envision Mrs. Green lowering her glasses and lecturing her about the importance for keeping track of her own card. A girl your age should know better, Raven. How dare you disrespect this library and all the books inside of it with your lack of responsibility? Raven winced at the thought of having to go through another conversation with Mrs. Green. But she also desperately needed this book. She weighed the pros and cons in her head, but Mrs. Green's lecturing voice rang through her mind as she pictured her shining rock collection just waiting for her at home. This was the moment that changed everything for Raven, as she looked around with paranoid movements and stealthily slipped the rock guide book underneath her shirt. She tried not to make eye contact with Mrs. Green, and she power walked out of the library, her legs chafing in her skinny jeans, all the way home. Raven's Rock and Minerals book was everything she could have dreamed of, as it helped her identify each rock in her beloved collection. Just to be extra safe, Raven scribbled out all the information on the book that stated it was property of the library. This book was now all hers. She had stayed home for the next 2 weeks to lay low from her book thievery, until her parents had grounded her from their computer at home for listening to Bring Me the Horizon way too loud in her bedroom.
Turn that shit down!
Desperate times called for desperate measures, as Raven made her way back to the library to play games on one of their computers. Surely 2 weeks going by was long enough to remain in hiding. When she arrived, Raven sat down at the best library computer and began playing RuneScape. All was going well until she overheard Mrs. Green talking with another library customer at the checkout desk. I'm terribly sorry, dear, but we are unable to locate Peterson Field Guides, Rock and Minerals at the moment. We are hoping it'll turn up soon, as we know it is an extremely helpful book. The blood had drained from Raven's face, and her hands froze on the keyboard. She felt like at any moment, Mrs. Green would grab her from behind and yell, "Gotcha!" Raven collected herself, logged out of RuneScape, and erased all of her internet history from the computer. Like a dog with their tail between their legs, Raven scampered out of the library with a guilty conscience and a heavy heart. She never returned back to that library ever again. Now, 13 years later, Raven still remains in the same town and still has both her rock collection and the Peterson Field Guide Rock and Minerals book in her possession. Raven often wonders what kind of late fee she would face if she ever came clean. Even though she is now an adult and a mother herself, she can't help but feel anxious about stepping back into her local library that she stole from all those years ago. She's considering getting her 5-year-old son a library card of his own soon, if she can find the strength to face her criminal past. This story shows us that all petty criminals start somewhere. Even if the petty crime was committed to gain knowledge and explore Earth's materials, it can leave a heavy after effect on all of those involved. Just one decision in life can leave you with the burden of committing a petty crime that rocks your world.
Okay. I hear your pun.
You hated that pun with everything inside of your body.
I love ending these stories with bad wordplay. So I loved to hate it.
Oh my God. So I wanted to say thank you to Raven, and I wanted to just say a few things. The only thing that I really exaggerated was the pain that she experienced while wearing skinny jeans. But, I've lived through that time era personally, and I know what it's like. So I feel
you're
like
probably not exaggerating.
it was probably pretty accurate. Also, I totally made up Mrs. Green's character. I felt like she was needed to really help create the anxiety that Raven felt to have kind of like this ominous librarian and the guilt just coming over her. But yeah, I tried to keep in, I asked her a lot of follow-up questions, and I tried to leave in as much of the details that she told me as possible. And it was actually a really fun listener story to write.
Did she provide you all those emo bands in the beginning in her story too?
The email bands. Oh, the emo bands.
Emo bands.
Yes.
What'd you think I said?
I thought you said email bands. I was like, what in the actual hell is that?
There should be some.
Yes, the two that I discussed were her top favorites that she was always listening to.
Nice.
And she told me she was always wearing skinny jeans and eyeliner, and she still lives in that town to this day.
Oh no, so she hasn't read a book since.
Well, she said there's other libraries in town that she'll go to, but that exact one, even though it's really close to her, she just she really has to figure out if she's going to face her criminal past and get her son a library card to go there or not. You know what, though? I personally say go for it.
Yeah, this is your chance at redemption. Did you really learn from your mistake that you can train the next generation to not follow in your footsteps and to learn from your mistakes?
Yeah.
That is powerful stuff.
Yeah, I say face it. That's what I say. I say you walk into that library with all the pride and confidence in the world. You take your son's hand. You walk up to that checkout or check-in desk and you slap your hand on it and say, "My son needs a library card."
But don't look, because if they have a sequel to that book, you might feel the need to steal again.
Oh my God. And she also sent me a picture of the book too.
Nice.
So I will be posting that with our social media posts with this episode. But I just think it's so funny. Some of our first petty crimes, like I know last week you talked about your progress report, and we really haven't done too many of these where it's like, oh, this was the first thing. This is what set it into motion. So it's kind of funny that these kind of went back to back for these weeks, but I loved it. I think sometimes the smallest crimes that you commit, when you're young, really feel like the biggest ones in that moment.
All children are petty criminals.
Oh, yeah. We've all done something.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you tell us you haven't.
If you haven't, then you haven't lived, or you were like a bubble boy or something.
Yes. Oh my God. Well, connections, do you know of any?
Oh, shit.
We both did, at the beginning of our stories, we both did callbacks to previous petty crimes that we've covered. I definitely noticed that. And I did touch on the food stuff a little bit at the beginning. But as far as our actual two crimes... Bananas, buses, libraries, books. I don't know.
Are they both public services?
Yeah.
The bus and libraries?
Yeah. That might be really the only connection, honestly.
Yeah.
They're both like public I was going to say public transportation.
Well, sometimes a book can take you anywhere you want to go.
Yes. There's the connection, Trevin.
Public transportation, in quotes.
Oh my God. Also, RuneScape really brought me back too.
I never really played that.
I didn't play it as much. There was like this weird caveman game where they had like these weird cars and it was like a racing game. I cannot remember the name of it, and I'm sure someone will maybe hopefully tell me if we leave this part in, but that was mainly the game that I played. But I remember RuneScape being a thing.
Mm-hmm. I always played it was like a downhill skiing game.
Oh.
And you used the mouse to move the guy going down the hill, and sometimes a little Yeti would be in the way, and if you ran into him, you'd lose.
Oh, I remember that.
I don't remember what that was called.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, what a great time. I feel like both of us are still kind of riding on the high of it being like our 1 year anniversary because we're both kind of still looking back and like being nostalgic at the beginning of our stories.
Yeah, I'm still currently editing that episode, so I'm still in the mindset of it.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you guys so much. We've recently received a few more Apple reviews that are just so dang kind.
But do more.
Yeah, but we'll definitely take more. We'll take as many as you want to give us. But that's been really exciting. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, and no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, don't brandish a banana.
Your lip quivered right before you said that.
I was trying to decide if I was going to change it or stay straight.
And we're all doomed.
Doomed.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Seriously Sinister.
If you have a true petty crime story to share, please email us at seriouslysinisterpodcast@gmail.com or send us a Facebook message.
If you would like to support our show, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review.
Also, tell your friends about this podcast.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Seriously Sinister Podcast.
And on Twitter at SeriouslySinPod.
Shout out to Trevin for writing all of the original music you hear and for producing our show. Follow him and his music at Fiesta Maiden on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Facebook.
And credit to Miranda Lucas for our awesome logo. You can find her on Instagram at MirandaLucas26.
All stories are written by myself and Trevin, and all stories are based on actual, true petty crimes.
He later went on to explain that he was initially considering a leave from his butt. I typoed bud and then actually read what I typed.
I thought you said butt.